Giant big fish out here. Look at this fish. How was that, guys?
Buddy, that was awesome.
Great experience.
All right, we're gonna get her back in the water. 50-incher.
All right, guys, welcome back. My name's Ian Jones. I run Fish LSC charters on Lake St Clair in the Detroit River. I've been a full-time muskie guide for the last 5 years. We see a lot of fish on Lake St Clair. In my opinion, it's one of the best fisheries, bar none. Today we're just going to go over some general tips for the water clarity on Lake St Clair. It's a big factor on Lake St Clair. We have a lot of rivers running into it. Thames River, St. Clair River, we have a few other small rivers on the north shore. So water clarity, we're always dealing with that. And this is going to help you catch more muskie on Lake St. Clair. So on Lake St. Clair, I'm going to generalize and say we have 3 different kinds of water clarity. We have clean, we have murky blue, and we have muddy water. And you know, we also have some off-green water. We have an enormous amount of different colors of water. We're going to generalize down to 3. And why we have those water colors is on the south shore, we have a lot of shallow, sandy areas. So if you get a high wind, it can really make that area muddy. We also have the Thames River, and we have the east shore on Lake St. Clair. A lot of farmland with a lot of drainage ditches that just drain that murky water, muddy water, right into the lake on the east end. And then we have clean water coming down from the St. Clair River on Lake Huron. That water is primarily the coldest, cleanest water we get that comes into Lake St. Clair. You know, the Detroit River very rarely does it run muddy, and that's because the cold water from Lake Huron comes down the St. Clair River into Lake St. Clair. So we're always going to find our cleanest water on the northeast side of the lake, and the murkiest water on the southeast side of the lake. So again, when we're talking about murky water is always going to be your warmest water. Murky water is basically a whole bunch of particles in that water. When the sun hits those particles, it heats up the water around it. So murky water is always the warmest. When we get to clean water is always the coolest. Especially in most cases on St. Clair, our clean water comes from St. Clair River. So cold water, clean water. Then we have murky water, which is always warmest. Okay, so one of my favorite water clarities to fish is off-green, a little bit murky water. You know, when you can put this bait, blue water bait down yellow belly, when I can put this down 3 feet, 4 feet, and you can still just barely see it. It looks a little bit blurry. That's my favorite color water to fish. So in that off-green, off-blue water, you know, we like to use natural patterns. We also like to use stuff with bright yellow bellies. Stuff like this, blue water bait. This is a Lawton. And we also have baits like this. Natural pattern, white belly. They're going to work good in that just a little bit murky water, that off-blue, off-green water. Then we get to the murky water. Murky water when we get a high wind, or we're fishing some of the rivers, Thames River, areas like that. That's when we're busting out bright colors. Stuff like this, jailbird, bright colors, you know. Bright bellies as well for that murky water. Black perch, it's a good one in murky water, overcast day. This is gonna pop. We get out to the clean water, that's when we can get away with, you know, more natural patterns. Stuff like this, $9 bass, some frog patterns. Those are clean water specialties. So clean water, more natural patterns, murky water, brighter patterns, brighter bellies. Another thing we have to remember on Lake St. Clair, when we do have to fish that clean water, I don't prefer to do it, but we do catch huge fish. I'm talking in 20 feet deep water, and I can see my bait down 5 to 10 feet. That's when we're trolling quicker. That's when we want a really aggressive action on these baits. Summertime when I'm trolling 6-inch baits or even stuff like this, blue waters, that's when I'm trolling quick. So I might bump it up 0.2, 0.3 miles an hour just to really get this bait humming across. It's gonna make that muskie commit one way or the other. It doesn't have a whole lot of time to think about it. It's gonna smash this out of a reaction strike. So clean water, faster troll. So water temp's a big factor, and water temp and water clarity go hand in hand. On Lake St. Clair, again, like I said before, always cold water coming down from the north shore, from the St. Clair River. And we always have warm water on the southeast corner of the lake. So this is important when it comes to midsummer, when you're trying to find cooler water. You know, that's when you're gonna have to go to those areas where it's cleaner, cooler water. When it's really hot on Lake St. Clair, we see the temp get up to 80+ degrees in some of the murky water areas. You know, that's when we're going aggressively attacking that cleaner water for the muskie. It's a lot colder. I've seen 6, 7, 8 degree temperature differences in the middle of summer on St. Clair. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's a few tips I hope help you on Lake St. Clair. Again, water clarity is a huge factor, and I hope these tips help. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe.